is what we call
hater shit.
There is no better term.
You know me. If you know me, you know me. If you know, you know. You know, so.
Be complete by any sense of the word, but it will be just a brief overview of all the ways that I personally have been targeted before meeting Xavier, because my targeting began in 2017 roughly, just after I had that issue where I was extorted by the detective to steal some girl's computer because he needed it for evidence. So just to fill you guys in if you're new, an officer named Detective Shepard extorted me, which means he told me, if you don't fill in the blank, I will fill in the blank. And the extortion was that if I did not gather evidence for him, that he would come and take away my children. And this was in 2016 or 17, and my targeting has gotten worse and worse every year since about 2019. In 2017, after that happened, we spent 2017 and 18 dealing with it. Internal Affairs was involved, and there was a lot of, back and forth. The case was closed in 2017 as the detective being in the wrong. I don't know the word. I think it's... my claims were substantiated is the wording that they used, and that detective ended up losing his job over it, and some other sexual harassment, inviting me to concerts and me saying no and all of this and
you
that.
You are a QT.
Well, I was not aware at the time, but there's a lot of shareholder, stakeholder interest in a lot of these cases. So while I'm walking in from my limited scope of perspective of, I just want to do whatever I need to do to keep my kids safe and keep this, away from me, there were shareholders and stakeholders who have a lot to lose based on that case being resolved. And it's more than I'll ever know. Victims of, who have been affected by these criminals or bad guys or whatever you want to refer to them as, for sake of understanding in the video of context, we can go into whether or not they were actually bad and whether or not oppression is the reason and blah, 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 at another time. But for the purpose of this video, this live is to discuss the targeting. What has the targeting looked like? What has been done to solve it, resolve it, protect me from it? Not enough, if you ask me or anyone who really knows what's going on. And where are we today in 2024, nearly 7 years later, from the first police report I filed regarding targeting? Xavier and I just met in 2022. It's 2024 now. So we've known each other for a little over 2 years. And when Xavier came into my life, I was at probably like the peak of the targeting. It was at its worst. I had just been bludgeoned by a stranger with a tire iron. I had, within the last year and a half of meeting him, been jumped and stabbed by 3 women multiple times with screwdrivers, strangers. So, and prior to those 2 attacks, I have no history of any sort of violence. Never had I ever been, in even a fist fight. So when I met Xavier, the targeting looked like stalking. What kind of stalking did it look like? In-person stalking. Xavier, do you recall a time ever when we were...
Okay, she's like, are you examining him right now? She's in court. Xavier, is it true that people started personally stalking me after we had met? No, is that true? Yes, is that true, right? That's true? Yes, that's true. Also, can we note, I thought this was being done way before you met Xavier as well. But go on.
Xavier, do you recall a time ever when we were out doing our thing and a stranger approached us, or me specifically, in like a aggressive, or not in a way to be like, oh my God, I'm a fan, but like,
No, she didn't. No, she didn't. Do you remember the time? Not the ones that come up to me and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm such a fan of yours. But the other ones, like the stalkers, the bad ones. The ones who like tell people who I really am and what I really do. Those people. Fucking fans. I can't. I got to. I gotta make me laugh. I need a very good fucking laugh today.
Aggressive, or not in a way to be like, oh my God, I'm a fan, but like kind of a negative way.
Yes, I remember all of it.
Okay,
He's so annoyed.
Xavier has been witness to most of this. An example I can give off the top of my head is being in the Dollar Tree. Xavier and I were walking from, as I commonly did during my pregnancy and before, from downtown to the northwest suburbs to drop off groceries, food, and things to my children. And we stopped to grab a 6-pack of water. Anyone who knows that 6 packs of water are only $1.20.
Stop that. Do you have new house shoes? Sorry for your face. Woo, God, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. What a beautiful picture. You so beautiful. Let's look at your shoes. Always getting some new shoes. I can't tell if they're house shoes or like regular shoes. Fudge and just...
Xavier and I were walking from, as I commonly did during my pregnancy and before, from downtown to the northwest suburbs to drop off groceries, food, and things to my children. And we stopped to grab a 6-pack of water. Anyone who knows that 6 packs of water are only $1.25 at the Dollar Tree of Pure Life. And also Crystal Geyser sometimes. So we go there to get a case of water or a 6-pack of water. And there's a lady there with her phone replaying my voice from one of my socials over and over and over and over behind me in the line. And I turn to her and I'm like, hi, like, is she trying to say hi to me, or, what is this? And
Heather's like, do you want my autograph?
she like made this very creepy voice and face,
and
literally told us that she was stalking us. Literally said, yes, I'm following you, and there's a lot of other people who are also stalking you. Like, not in a nice way, not like in a nice way. We called the law, police show up, and what did they say? Just keep documenting. There's really nothing we can do. Which is what they've said the entire time. So that's one way that I've been targeted. I've been targeted on social media. I've had 6 or 7 accounts since 2017 where I've taken live photo and video coverage of numerous attacks, either against me or others for speaking out, and published it all to social media, and they have been either stolen, bombarded with really negative commentary that's absolutely untrue. Just you name it, okay? And when I say bombarded, I want to explain to you guys that when I was selling sexy content, so there was...
Hey, why do y'all... I'm so sorry. I was going to talk about pause it. That's just bad timing for her. Good for others. Why y'all not wearing y'all's rings anymore? Are y'all just like... What's those relationships called? Are y'all just hanging out now? I'm so confused. I feel like they are no longer married right now. I think they're separated. They must be having a separation, but with visitations to each other.
When I was selling sexy content, so there was a time in between my career in healthcare administration, law, and ethics, and what I'm doing today, that I was selling sexy content. I was doing performances in clubs, hostings at clubs, nightclubs, and bartending and bottle serving and selling sexy photos and videos and other content, clothing and shoes and things of that nature. While I was doing that, I would get, 1,000 positive comments, 100, likes within the first 5 minutes. As soon as I stopped doing that and the targeting began, I would get like 200 plus comments that were like, fuck you, go kill yourself, die. No. Like really nasty comments, things about my family, my children, my everything, you name it.
I haven't seen
So that began as well in 2019 when I stopped selling sexy content.
No.
My children, my everything.
I'm sorry, was that... Oh, goodness gracious. Oh, gosh. I forgot what I was going to say now. Dang, Heather, why are you making silly faces right now? You done made me forget what I was about to say. Oh shit! Yeah. What was you? What were you about to say? What was you about to let slip?
Roughly 19 when I stopped selling sexy content.
Stop smoking what?
I
Stop smoking cocaine, meth. You was probably on that meth shit.
The stalking online, the stalking in person, the slander, the smear campaigns.
Oh my
my goodness. They even went as far as to pitch a reality TV show to smear campaign me. This is illegal.
Honey, are you a narcissist or what? Did you think they did that show just for you? You think they said, let's do Love After Lockup because of Heather Gillespie? We want to smear her name. You are all get out. Come on, you and that, what's crazy? What's so crazy to me? You know this shit ain't true.
Went as far as to pitch a reality TV show to smear campaign me.
Damn
this
it.
is illegal everywhere. Judges have ruled on the
What? The what?
What is that thing called?
Yeah, what is that thing
written
called?
paper that you make an agreement with someone?
Are you fucking kidding me?
Sorry.
Oh my
They have also
God.
ruled on the. What is that thing called? The written paper that you make an agreement with someone? Contract. I'm sorry. They have also ruled on the contract for the show as being unconscionable, which means that no judge would hold it in a court of law or deem it as a legal document, as a valid legal contract. They had a clause in there that specifically said, if I were to kill myself as a result of their narrative, my children and family could not go after them for any sort of money or reimbursement or compensation. Which means to me, and this was the contract that was presented to me before I ever even did an interview to be on the reality show, okay? Never even spoke to anyone. When they presented that with me, I changed everything and crossed it out, and they just pretended like I didn't, and just literally issued a piece of paper with my signature on it saying I agreed. I did not. I never did, and that's on God and everything I love.
Hey, you better stop.
So you can add that into the targeting. They proceeded with malicious intention and premeditation to slander me to the masses on this show, and that went hand in hand with a smear campaign. On social media, and my online reputation went from stellar, stellar, not a single negative comment anywhere on the internet, anywhere, to the opposite of stellar. It seemed overnight.
Opposite of stellar.
This created a bunch of opportunity for SEO companies to get involved and make money cleaning up the online presence, etc. and so forth. They began boxing in my devices technologically. I have attempted probably close to 1,000 times to file formal lawsuit. I have called law enforcement more than 1,000 times in the last 5 years reporting all of this. Every single time they tell me that there is nothing that they can do. And I will be on the phone with them for close to an hour or 2 or 3 sometimes, telling them what's going on here. I don't want to be stalked. I don't want to be stalked in person. I don't want to be stalked on social media. I don't think anyone does. It's weird and creepy.
You're weird and creepy.
I don't like it. So those are 2 of the ways. There's a whole bunch more ways, you guys, and they're like more like really super nefarious and like malicious. Like my phone, my devices. My UDID has been lifted from my devices on a number of occasions, which allows hackers the ability to hack into my device. They have been fraudulently draining my checking account and saying it's for protection to each other. They have been fucking with my audio, my video, my appearance, using various filters that are unflattering, taking down my social media accounts, paying people and incentivizing people to testify against me, whether that's a verbal testimony on social media, a written testimony on, review sites, or an in-person testimony of my character. They have been incentivizing people that I interact with regularly to be very negative. And
is someone knocking at your door and you ignore them? Are you gonna have a big man over there answer it for you? Why is it your phone messing up? Is it me or is it you?
People that I interact with regularly to be very negative and untruthful, dishonest, blatantly dishonest. I have been separated from my family and children now for 4 years. I've
Who's at the door?
To sit down to a holiday dinner in 4 years, since 2020. My uncle passed away in 2019 from cancer. We spent our last set of holidays together that year, and I've not been with. And understand, I'm a grown up, and I've never missed, holidays with my family. My children have never missed holidays with my family. We have always, since I was a little girl, since I was born, had Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, at the very least together, if not more holidays and birthdays in between. So it's been a very, very difficult time. I've also been targeted in the sense of honeypots. There have been multiple, numerous people, places, and things, influences, as I commonly refer to them, that have seen an opportunity and taken it, that have engaged in sexual misconduct, I'll call it, with my significant others to get them to turn against me. And even more than that, I mean, if a person is, for the most part, isolated to their partner, and a power and control dynamic has been established where if you want this, you know how to get it. If you want this, you know how to get it. You learn the other person, and you have a rapport and a dynamic with that other person. If you want them to calm down, you know how to behave to get them to calm down. If you want to work them up, you know how to behave to work them up. And there are people, places, and things, agencies who have something to gain by studying those types of actions, behaviors, targeting whatever person has access for intended response, reaction, etc., and so forth. My phone, as I said, has been tech boxed in. The phones of my loved ones have been tech boxed in or out. There have been numerous screen shares that I have not authorized in any way, shape, or form, meaning someone is in my phone.
They're like unavailable, and she's like, oh my gosh, were you text boxed in? Yeah, Mom. Yeah, let's go with that.
There have been numerous screen shares that I have not authorized in any way, shape, or form, meaning someone is in my phone on their own device watching the same screen that I'm watching in my hand. When I write an email, they're reading it in real time. When I, do anything, send a text message, take a photo, whatever. My camera has been hijacked a number of times, meaning there is surveillance going on through my camera without my permission.
It's messing up right now.
And this is just, as I said, the very, very most basic ways I've been targeted. There have been such extensive psychologic manipulations and operations that have taken place. I call them psyops. There have been numerous campaigns that have been taken to kind of disarm and use fear as a bargaining chip or a way to oppress. Either the threat of fear or actually, doing things that are very scary, insinuating very, very scary things, and using people's loved ones. I am literally not the person that you want to target. I'm just not. It's a waste of your time, and it's most certainly a waste of my time. And I'm letting you know as a friend, I'm not the one. So there has been that you guys, that when I tell you is about probably like 1% of the targeting that I've been receiving. I'm probably being generous. It's probably more like 0.5% of the targeting that I've been receiving. And it comes like a fucking AK, pardon my French, like an AK-47 without warning at times, and lasts for a long time. It even translates through in Xavier's behavior, allegations that Xavier will make. Xavier entered my life as my person, my partner, my kind of third eye, my extra set of eyes, my witness, if you will. His brother works for the district attorney's office. So this relationship was created after a relationship had already been established with the state's attorney's office, specifically Wayne Jakowski, who is in charge of public corruption in the state of Illinois and Chicago. So this relationship was established, Xavier and I, in an effort to get the men who sexually assaulted me, and the joint effort of the shareholders, everyone who was or had the ability to be affected by everything that I was involved in, specific to the state's department and federal department. But they all had so much to lose. So there are so many people who had incentive to behave this way. Now Xavier, who's been watching everything that's taking place, has become the target of
oh no, not him too.
his position has been compromised. Let's put it that way. When Xavier and I first met, he dressed like a man every single day. He was very strong in his masculinity, and we both agreed that we valued traditional gender roles. What does that look like? The mom takes care of the kids. Maybe she has, some income, maybe not really that important. What's most important is that we have a safe, stable home place that the mom mostly, cleans and is with the children in the house and, cooks and decorates, and that the man is like the protector and like the strong guy. And that's not to say that I don't think men should ever have feelings or cry. It's not about that. It's about those are the roles that we agreed to and that we actually lived when we began to take the relationship from one of absolute necessity to kind of explore, a sort of romantic connection. The personality that Xavier presents with over the last, I'd say about 15 weeks, is nothing like the personality that I fell in love with or have any desire to be in a relationship with. The real Xavier doesn't say bad things about me. He just doesn't. He protects me and defends me. So what goes on during these periods of time where I'm actively being targeted, even they're using my partner to target me, I know I'm not unique in this. I know that they do it to more people. I understand this. I really am not like a criminal. This is the shit they do to criminals as like interrogative technique and things of that nature. I don't understand how this shit is legal. There's no fucking way this shit is legal. I mean, you've got terrorists in Guantanamo Bay who are being treated better than someone receiving this type of targeting around the clock. I mean, it's awful. Let me put it this way, you guys. The first year I met Xavier, after being forced to walk until I physically was exhausted to the point where I collapsed on the ground and woke up being sexually assaulted by someone, that I had overcome, right? And I'm a stay-at-home mom, like by trade, right? So I have my little careers and my entrepreneurial stuff, but for the most part, I'm spending an equal amount of time in the house with my kids as I am working, even when I was working full-time, and that's the truth. When I was working full-time, Monday through Thursday were most of my hours. There was I'd say about 2-year period when my work got a little unbalanced with my home, but for the most part, that was me. So I was not ready. I was not a trained FBI agent. I was not a trained, operative. I don't know what these people are doing or what to look for. I just know that I found myself under heavy fire. And I really wasn't the person that they were looking for, at all in any way. And I want to keep going. I've asked about 1,000 times, I need a digital team. Must have a digital team. And I need people who can sit down with me while I podcast. I need people who can go through a live podcast.
You need to have people sit you down, and you need a freaking intervention, ma'am. Seriously. My goodness gracious, this is ridiculous.
I've asked about 1,000 times, I need a digital team. Must have a digital team. And I need people who can sit down with me while I podcast. I need people who can go through a live podcast and start making 15-second shorts, because there's so much to cover and there's so little time. And what I mean by that is, yes, time is infinite. It's finite and infinite. It's both. But what I mean to say is, I could sit here and speak for an hour and make really valid, understandable points for 20 minutes.
Doubt it.
Right? I want to shave off the fat in a way that still communicates the point, doesn't take away from the message, but just saves everyone time, myself included. So, and I've been asking for this for close to 5 years now. I really, really, really could use the help. I need a digital team. And there's just so much more going on, you guys. It's crazy. It's absolutely insane out here. I want to read the testimony from my doctor. My doctor did testify at my most recent court hearing. And he did testify under oath that there is, quote, nothing wrong with me, and I have been he would consider me medically compliant. So there is no reason Weston should still be where he is.
Read it.
I have such a strong desire to sue everyone involved. And I really, there's a giant potential for wealth generation with
Girl,
all
if
of
you
these
don't read
cases.
that
I was
before.
physically assaulted by a member of law enforcement at 14 weeks pregnant while laying in a defenseless position on a yoga mat on the floor. He and 2 other officers entered the space with premeditation to harm me. I know this because they all had rubber gloves on when they entered the space. This was an outdoor public space. There are witnesses and body cam footage. But this is just one of many things that have all taken place at the same time that have caused me harm over the last 5 years that I have gone to law enforcement for assistance with and not received any assistance. And I refer to this as targeting. I also refer to it as the chatter. What I mean by the chatter is the general overall consensus of what people who have the motivation to harm me are saying. So when I receive 6,000 notifications overnight in phone, text, email, comments, likes, shares, etc. from all of the socials, for example, it is not realistic that I would ever receive that much commentary and it all be negative. It's just not realistic. So when that is happening, I want to know, in the United States of America, where I live, where I am a citizen of this country, a tax-paying citizen since I was 14 years old, I want to know, what can I do as a civilian with limited understanding and knowledge of the technology that I'm using, but I love? What can I do to specifically protect myself from exactly what I'm going through right now? How can I get these transcripts of my doctor's testimony uploaded to publicly visible files? How can I erase?
No. If you got the shit, read the shit, show the shit. What you talking about? How do I upload it? Don't you, girl.
How can I get these transcripts of my doctor's testimony uploaded to publicly visible files? How can I erase or eliminate any doubt that anyone has who is thinking about helping me, who would like to represent me, who would like to have my back in these lawsuits? How do I go, about obtaining this type of support? I know it exists. I I need it. I know it exists.
I need it.
So that's kind of, to go back to the targeting,
ADHD.
They have showed up at my job. They have called my job. They have written reviews online about me that are untrue. Some woman said that I shouldn't be trusted around people, that I need to be kept apart from people, that I have something wrong with me, that I'm rude and ignorant. Never. I was never. There are and then the same woman called my job 10 times saying random lies. Thank God, shout out to my job. I have an industry job now. A lot of women get stalked in the industry.
Oh my God.
So a lot of industry employers, and employees are more willing.
Look, she's like, fuck, I accidentally slipped. She was about to come out with the story where she was about to get stabbed again at work. She slipped up.
Job. I have an industry job now. A lot of women get stalked in the industry. So a lot of industry employers, and employees are more willing to tolerate the targeting, as I referred to it. When I tried my hand at day jobs, I had a job working HR for a company last winter, and that went really south when they started getting targeted. Corporate headquarters in Turkey began receiving tags on YouTube videos and things about me. So it was just, I'm very grateful to have an industry job, but that's another example. Coming to my job, posting photos of me that are stills from a live. Say for instance, I were to sneeze on the live. These people have so much fucking time on their hands. They're watching the video, screenshotting when I sneeze, exaggerating it, blowing it up, and then printing out 100 copies and hanging them up and down State Street. Okay, so this is all damaging to my reputation, and not just my reputation, to my children who are connected to me forever and always.
Saying if Heather's gonna mess something up, let her mess it up on her own. Let her have the chance, and if she's going to fail, let her fail. I do not agree with people leaving bad reviews, A, just because of Heather, and B, they'll even say something bad about the business, knowing that they've never even been at that business. So it's not just hurting Heather, it's actually hurting that business and other people who work there a lot more.
To my ability to do business, to anyone who aligns with me, unless we mitigate and control and get ahead of it. And there are ways, and I challenge any PR firm who's in training to get involved and, kind of use this as a very real learning experience, because there are ways to use this to benefit everyone involved. There are ways to use this controversy and this targeting, for positive income producing endeavors. Besides the targeting at my job, in person, over the phone, on the internet, the stalking, hacking my devices, hacking my bank account and stealing from them. My identity has been stolen. Multiple IDs have been stolen. Many, many dollars have been stolen. Clothes have been stolen. I was unlawfully thrown out of my apartment where I held a lease with no notice, and most of my belongings were stolen. Sexual assault with no investigation. 3 of them, that were reported, a possible 4th if I were to report, which I didn't based on the outcome of the other 3. And a lot of other things, you guys. And I need the last thing for you guys to understand and start creating content on is that my family, my parents are not from the world that I'm sitting in right now. So when I try to get understanding from them, protect them, even just fill them in and get on the same playing field with them, they are lost. They have no fucking clue what I'm talking about. Just to get through a conversation where I say, I did a live, I got a message, I checked the DM, my family has no idea. They're like, what the fuck did you just say? Like, we have no idea what you just said. DM, what is that? Message, where? Live? How? What? You're on TV? That's what I'm dealing with. So while it's not that I don't have familial support, it's that my family does not understand what's going on. So I need my tech family to show up. I need my digital content family to show up. I need my marketing family to show up, and I need my PR family to show up, and I most definitely need my security family to show up, because
okay, you little son of a gun, I wanted to try to be as nice and sweet as I can, but your kids need you to show up. And I think it would be great for your mom and your daddy if you would to show up. And all your other family and friends, you really should, apologize and show up.
Proving these things have taken place is the only way to get past them. I've been through this now consistently, on a consistent basis for, as I said, going into 7 years. Active targeting for 5 years, under pressure for a solid, I would say, 7 months now. With very little, peace in between. So I am pretty much like an expert at handling this the best way possible. That does not mean it's enjoyable. Girl. That does not mean I want to do it. That does not mean...
I'm sorry. I know I just stopped it, but I'm going to have to rewind that again. This is Heather.
I am pretty much like an expert at handling this the best way possible. That does not mean it's enjoyable. That does not mean I want to do it. That does not mean I'm willing. I'm literally not consenting to being a part of this. They're doing it on their own, of their own will and volition, with premeditation, and I'm reacting in the only way I can to stay alive. So that's kind of where I'm at with just a few ways that I've been targeted. There are many, many, many more. Electronic and virtual targeting is real. The algorithms being manipulated, that is real. I used to think in a very real way that someone put me to sleep and stole my phone for a few days. Because I scroll, we all scroll, right? And I don't like ghetto things. I typically don't like things with like little kids rapping or swearing. I typically don't like things that are just hood or ghetto. I have no interest in it. It's not funny or cute. I don't like it. I will wake up one morning after scrolling like nothing but like Nordstrom, Amazon, baby products, how to cope with a teenager. Like that's what I'll be looking at for weeks. All of a sudden, I'll wake up and go into my phone.
How to cope with the teenager? I'm sure the teenager's probably like, how to cope with your mom.
That's what I'll be looking at for weeks. All of a sudden, I'll wake up and go into my phone, and it's like the most ghetto shit. Like, who had my phone? Because if you're on my phone and you're scrolling and your interests are different than mine, you're going to fuck up my algorithms. And I've not given anyone consent to use my phone, scroll through my socials, none of that. So as I've said a million times, The only way a person doesn't have to give consent to something is if you can say that that person is crazy and have them, what's that word, Xavier? Committed. Or have them.
I'm sorry. It's always so funny. Like, I don't know what she's doing. She's always asking him, what's that word again? I got to put that on a shirt. What's that word again? What's that called?
What's that word, Xavier? Committed. Or have their free will inhibited or taken away from them. That's the only way that you can really consent for them, and that's never happened to me. There's nothing wrong with me. As a matter of fact, my doctor just took the stand and said that less than a month ago. So I'm going to really need some answers, you know, and this is not going to go away, and I say this every time. You guys have been trying to get me to stop talking about this since 2017. We're in 2024 now. So there's gonna have to be answers. There are gonna be repercussions to all of this, you know, in the way that it was handled or not handled. And I eagerly await and look forward for that to that day. But there's been a billion different ways I've been targeted, you guys. I want to do a specific content week that's just about the targeting and the ways to kind of pivot away from those types of things when I am being targeted, and that'll probably be my next round of shorts. But yeah, this shit has been going on, you know, for quite some time now, and I just feel like I get trapped into this corner where I almost like abandon my identity. Like I always have my name, you know, I never change my name or anything like that, like at work or.
You never change your name? Girl, you know how many freaking names you got? She got all these freaking aliases over here. I only have one name. Girl, you got different names on your resume. Make that make sense. You can't.
Like I always have my name, you know, I never change my name or anything like that, like at work or whatever, but it's like everything that makes me who I am in the world, my love for my children, my living space or the lack thereof, my relationships, my family, my everything. When I interact with others, I just appear as like this unidentified individual with none of that. And
oh my gosh, because if it's a stranger, they have no idea who you are. And to be quite frank, if it's somebody you do know, you're not really being a mother right now here lately. So yeah, it's a bit different.
And I completely have no choice but to compartmentalize and disassociate from all of that in order to not get in trouble at work, to focus at visits, to give my kids my attention to my kids, you know, to get through. That goes back to everything from lights to cable to Wi-Fi to everything. You know, there was a time when some guy was like, you know what, I'm gonna invent a small box where I can see you and you can see me. And somebody was like, you're crazy. And look at what we're doing right now.
She's so
right?
stupid.
So
that's
everything is crazy until you take a second to understand
like, I don't know why. I mean, I know sometimes I've been doing accents. I don't even know why I do them. But why is she always doing like a redneck accent? But I will take that as a compliment. Thank you so much.
Nothing really is as it appears at face value. This, as I said, content shoot about targeting is literally less than 1% of all the ways I've been targeted over the last 5 to 7 years. And I'm eager to continue explaining it to you.
Why are these
just not right now. They have had real life people come into my living spaces, steal food. There was a specific instance, I talk about this commonly. I had just moved into my apartment in 2022.
Oh my gosh.
January of 2022. Please. It was New Year's Eve. I decided to go for a workout and spend my New Year's working out. Yes. I was working out for like 3-4 hours.
Yes.
Cooked some boiled eggs for my protein. Left 5 boiled eggs in the pot. I know because I make these.
Look. She's trying not to smile because she knows what really happened. She's so stupid. You know what happened. She tries so hard not to smile.
Go for a workout and spend my New Year's working out. I was working out for like 3-4 hours. Cooked some boiled eggs for my protein.
Watch.
Left 5 boiled eggs in the pot.
No, she trying.
I know because I make these, photographic associations with the eggs in
Stop.
in my pot. And so you have the 2 eggs, the egg in the middle and the other 2 eggs.
Okay, let me go ahead and say, most people know, but I cannot stand a liar. I cannot with a liar. I will lose my patience real quick, fast, in a hurry. I will lose it with a liar. One thing liars do is you be quiet and they will talk. They will talk and talk and talk. And they give a lot of details.
For like 3-4 hours, cooked some boiled eggs for my protein, left 5 boiled eggs in the pot. I know because I make these, photographic associations with the eggs in an X in my pot. And so you have the 2 eggs, the egg in the middle and the other 2 eggs. So I visually saw that before I went down to work out, came back up, there were 4 eggs in the pot. I live alone. I had just moved into that apartment.
Someone
Who's
took
gonna
one
fucking steal
egg.
1 egg? Right? And little shit like that would continue to be done as part of my targeting, no matter where I lived or who I lived with. And as I said, this
And
is.
you know what's so crazy is that she had security cameras, but for some reason, they just did not happen that day. Isn't that the craziest thing? Every time. Same thing with vacuum cleaner and the makeup.
Going on now for close to 7 years, and I've been reporting on it. 7 years of people acknowledging what I'm saying, and very little direction, communication, acknowledgement. I never thought that I or anyone could literally get like sexually assaulted in cold blood after being physically exhausted, or that was a thing that people pay for.
Are you kidding me? Did you seriously just say you didn't think that could happen? Do you know how many people that happened to? And we don't, it's not a topic. It's not talked about. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're like, it's something very, very intimate. What? You are so entitled and selfish to think that you're like, you didn't even think this would happen until it had to happen to you. And apparently it still only matters that it happened to you.
Never thought that I or anyone could literally get like sexually assaulted in cold blood after being physically exhausted, or that was a thing that people pay for.
Like what?
And I most certainly never knew that if that happened to you and you go to the police, they will look the other way if they're paid enough. It's fucked up. It's sick. So anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. I don't want to make it too long, but like I said, the ways that I've been targeted are absolutely insane, and they do cause people to think that maybe I'm imagining them. I'm not. And we have a lot of them on video, on camera. And if you are a tech person, please start creating content about these things, because the only way that we can advocate for the safe use of technology on the internet is to advocate for solutions just in case these things happen to others. I'm a grown-up. I'm having trouble verbalizing the things that have taken place. There's no chance a child would be able to. So if there was a sexual predator or someone coming through the camera of a child, they tried to tell their mom, there is no way that child would be able to communicate this. None. I have education. I have experience. I have,
time to say goodbye.
The ability to articulate. I'm grown up.
I'm grown
a
up.
5, 6, 7-year-old. There's no way.
There's
no way. And when we're talking about serious shit like this, and it's like fucked up and real and like difficult to understand, and instead of the comments being like questioning what's going on or adding value to the conversation, but they're actually like being abusive and mean and nasty, that definitely takes away from the solution. So if we're talking AI filtering, what the fuck, YouTube? I expect way better. The automatic filtering on these main social media websites at this point in 2024, this should be a given. I shouldn't have to turn that on. There should be zero tolerance for this type of abusiveness, especially when we're talking about serious matters, like I'm discussing right now. But anyways, you guys, I'll talk to you later.